Alright, so today I'm going to show you guys how to fix a Nintendo Switch Joy-Con that has buttons that are sticky or stuck. With the case of this Joy-Con, you can see how the X button is very indented inside the Joy-Con. So we're going to try to fix that. The B button is not very clicky while the Y and A are normal. So to fix this, we're just going to need some very common tools. We're going to first start off with this. This is a XYAB membrane, and we're going to be replacing this membrane so we can get that tactile feel once again. So the only tools that we really need are a Phillips 000 bit and a Y00 bit, along with a screwdriver, and guitar pick is optional. It'll be useful for prying. So we can start off by with our Y00 bit. And we're going to be removing these 4 screws on this Switch Joy-Con. Now that we have these 4 screws off, we're going to put these screws to the side. And we're going to grab our guitar pick. From here, we try to pry this back plate by just going gently around the corner. We can start prying it up. And at this point, we can fold it like a book outwards. So our next step is going to be disconnecting the battery. So to disconnect the battery, you can grab a little spudger, kind of like this, or a toothpick. Both would work fine. And then from here, you can try to disconnect the battery right here. So the battery is going to be right here. And then all you have to do is just pop it open, just like that. So once the battery is popped out, you just remove the battery by picking it up. And putting it to the side. With the battery removed, we're going to be working on removing this plate right here. So this plate is connected by 3 screws, and those are going to be your Phillips 000 bits. So these 3 screws are located right here, here, and here. Now that you have all the screws out, you can remove this back plating very gently. And there's going to be a ribbon that is connected. So once again, you can grab your spudger and then pry this back open like this. And then from here, there's these 2 tiny little tabs right here. And then you just gently push up like that to release. You can put this piece to the side for now. Our next step is going to be disconnecting the sliding mechanism for the dock. So there's going to be 2 ribbon cables, and you're going to be doing a process pretty similar to what you just did right here. You're going to be releasing this tab upwards, like that, and then sliding these 2 tabs once again outwards. Repeat the same process for the bottom as well. Now that the slider is released, we can put it to the side, and then we can focus on just the Joy-Con. So we're going to need to disconnect this Joy-Con, this joystick. So you're going to first start by unscrewing these 2 Phillips bits right here and here. Once you have those 2 screws put to the side, you're going to release this tab right up here. From here, you can simply lift this joystick out of its socket, give a light tug in order to release. After that, disconnect the vibration by doing a process pretty similar to the battery, where you just kind of pry up. And then we can put this to the side once again. And from here, there's only one more cable that's attaching it. And then you just have to release this connector right here. And we should be ready to unscrew the board. So right here, you're going to notice that there's a couple more screws that are attaching the board onto this faceplate. So once again, just start unscrewing. Finally, from here, just give it a gentle tug. Just like that. And then the board is out with everything. So in my case, this is probably the most extreme you're going to be seeing this, where I have one that's actually like teared out. So where we're going to start from here is that we could get a set of pliers, and then we're going to be picking this off. But what I find that's very helpful is to have a hairdryer around, or a heat gun. Household hairdryer would work just as well. So I'm just going to be hitting this with a little bit of heat. From here, I grab a little microfiber, just give it a little touch up. Make sure the surface is nice and clean. And then we can add our new button. So I'm just gonna start by peeling this off. And then I'm going to be adding it on to the board, making sure to line all the circles up. From here, you can see all the buttons are nice and tactile, and that's what gives us our click. We're going to be getting our board, just like this. So in case some of these buttons get unarranged while you're putting them off, I'm just going to be showing you how to put this together, just in case it gets a little scrambled like this. If everything was good, you just have to skip this step. But if all these buttons fall out, they're pretty easy to put back. You just align the XYAB like this. XYAB, kind of like that. And then you just want to put them back in their respective hole. So the X is on the top, just like that. The Y button is going to go into this hole right here. And then A, and then B, like that. Y goes right here. A goes right here. And then B goes right down there. You want to put the cover back on, making sure these two little tabs right here line up with these two little indents right here. And all the buttons are back. You want to do the same thing with the home button right here. And you want to do the same thing with the plus button up there, making sure to align this tiny little notch with this tiny little indent right there. Once that's in, you can put the covers back on. And then you should be ready to reassemble the board. You're just going to be basically repeating all the steps that we did to disassemble in reverse. So we're going to start by aligning this sensor right here, down here. And then we're going to be focusing on reconnecting this tiny little ribbon cable back onto the board first. From here, we're going to be reinserting our two mounts in order to secure the board in place. And then you can test out your buttons, make sure they're nice and clicky. So we can continue with assembling by starting with the vibration sensor by inserting it right here, just plugging this connector back into the board on this white piece right here. Next, we're going to be focusing on getting the joycon back in place. So the joycon is just going to sit right here and slide into this piece right here, this connector. So we can start by opening this tab right here and then sliding the joycon connector inside, making sure this thing's all seated inside. And then we can close and secure the connector by pushing it down. From here, we can grab our two screws once again, and then secure the joystick down to the board. Once we're done with that, we can try to get the shoulder connector inserted back onto the board. So this connector is going to be right here, and we're going to once again start by opening the flap, grabbing the connector, just like that. and just inserting it right inside. So once we have this connector on, we're going to insert the rail back onto the board. So the rail is going to be connected at 2 different points right here, here and here. So all we have to do is open the latches for both of these and then start inserting them in. So once we have all 3 boards connected to the motherboard, we can focus on getting this last final shoulder button, this last final shoulder onto the board. The spring is going to sit on this tiny little ledge right here, and all we have to do is just maneuver it through and it'll sit just like that. And finally, once everything is done, we can just close this up. Make sure to remove this chip out of the way. Everything should be inserted nicely like this. So we're going to be getting those 3 screws back into place again. And then we're going to be reasserting the battery and then reconnecting it right down here. We're going to slide this chip into this tiny little socket right here. Once that is in place, we can close the cover. Make sure everything fits nicely. So from here, we're going to get our Y00 bit. And then we're going to reattach those 4 screws. And all right, we have a Joy-Con right now with all the buttons being nice and clicky. And from here, we can just return to normal use. So that's going to conclude my repair video for today. If you enjoyed it, I would greatly appreciate a like, and stay tuned for more repair content.